Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood, and today we're going to be learning all about mountains. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. You've probably seen gray or brown rocky mountains, even white snow-covered peaks, but could they be more colorful? Would you believe they're actually rainbow-colored mountains? What do you think? Is this an actual fact or just too good to be true? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is orogeny. That's O-R-O-G-E-N-Y. Orogeny is the scientific term for the large-scale geological processes that build mountains. Like so many words, it comes from Greek roots. Oros means mountain, and genesis means creation or origin. So orogeny quite literally means mountain creation. This process is the direct result of plate tectonics. The Earth's crust is broken into massive pieces like a giant jigsaw puzzle called tectonic plates. Orogeny happens when these plates move and interact. The most dramatic example is when two continental plates collide. Since both plates are relatively light, neither one wants to sink. Instead, they buckle, fold, and shatter, pushing rock upwards over millions of years to create massive folded mountain ranges like the Himalayas, which are still growing today. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about mountains. Number 1. The longest mountain range on Earth is almost entirely underwater. When you think of the longest mountain ranges, you probably think of stuff like the Andes in South America. While the Andes is the longest continental range, it's dwarfed by the true record holder, the mid-ocean ridge system. This is a continuous chain of underwater volcanoes and mountains that snakes its way around the entire globe, connecting all the world's oceans. At over 40,000 miles long, it's the construction zone of the Earth's crust where tectonic plates are pulling apart and new seafloor is being created by rising magma. While we rarely see it, some parts of this ridge do peak above the surface. The entire nation of Iceland, for example, is just one very large, very active part of the mid-ocean ridge. Number 2. You can often guess a mountain's age by looking at its shape. Mountains have their own life cycles. Generally speaking, mountains that are sharp, jagged, and pointy, like the Rocky Mountains or the Alps, are geologically young. This means they're still being actively uplifted by tectonic forces, and the forces of erosion like wind, ice, and water haven't yet had enough time to wear them down. They still have their baby sharp edges. In contrast, mountains that are low rolling and have smooth rounded tops like the Appalachian Mountains in the eastern United States are old. These ranges formed hundreds of millions of years ago and have long since stopped growing. For all that time, erosion has been sort of sanding down the rough edges, slowly but surely smoothing the peaks and filling in their valleys. Number 3. Mountains are the planet's water towers, providing fresh water to half the world's population. Mountains are absolutely essential to life on Earth, even for people who live hundreds of miles away from them. They act as giant natural reservoirs. When weather systems move across the land, they're forced to rise over the mountains, which cools the air and forces it to release the moisture as rain or, crucially, snow. This high-altitude snowpack accumulates all winter, forming a deep, frozen reserve of fresh water. Then, during the spring and summer, this snowpack melts slowly and steadily. This gradual release feeds the streams and rivers that flow down into the lowlands, providing critical drinking water and irrigation for agriculture for billions of people. Major river systems like the Ganges, the Indus, the Yangtze, and the Colorado all have their own headwaters in high mountains. Number 4. Mountains create sky islands that are home of unique plants and animals. As you climb a mountain, the climate changes dramatically. For every 1,000 feet you go up, the temperature drops about 3 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit. This creates distinct vertical biomes. Think like traveling from a hot desert at the base to the cold Arctic-like tundra near the summit, all within a few miles. You can watch the entire ecosystem change as you ascend. Because these high-altitude environments are so isolated from each other, separated by the warm lowlands below, they function like islands in the sky. This isolation forces life to adapt in unique ways, leading to a high rate of endemism, which means species evolve there and are found nowhere else on the planet. This is why we have unique animals like the mountain gorilla in Africa, the snow leopard in Asia, and the yak in the Himalayas. And our fifth and final fun fact for today: the point on Earth farthest from the planet's center is not the top of Mount Everest. This can be a little hard to wrap your head around. Mount Everest has the highest altitude on Earth, meaning its summit is the highest point above sea level at 29,032 feet. But the Earth is not a perfect sphere. It's technically an oblate spheroid, meaning it bulges out ever so slightly at the equator due to its rotation. Think of a spinning water balloon. It flattens and widens in the middle. Because of this bulge at the equator, mountains that are located near the equator get an extra boost away from the planet's core. The peak of Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador is much closer to the equator than Everest, while its altitude is over 8,500 feet lower than Everest's. That bulge at the equator makes its summit the single farthest point from the center of the Earth. And poor Mount Everest actually loses out in another category too. If you measure from the very bottom of the base to the very top of the peak, the title of tallest mountain actually goes to Mauna Kea in Hawaii. Mauna Kea is over 33,500 feet tall, beating Everest by over 4,000 feet. But since the vast majority of the mountain is hidden underwater, Everest does at least retain its claim to highest altitude. Now for some news you can use. When you're hiking in the mountains, the weather can change in an instant, turning a sunny afternoon into a cold, windy, or wet situation. The best tip for staying safe and comfortable is to layer your clothing. Instead of just one big heavy coat, it's far more effective to wear 3 distinct lighter layers. 1, a base layer. This is the layer against your skin. It should be made of material like wool or synthetics, but not cotton. You want something that wicks sweat away from your body. 2nd, a mid layer. This is your insulation layer, like fleece or a puffy jacket designed to trap your body heat. And finally, an outer shell. This should be a thin, waterproof, and windproof jacket that protects you from the elements. This system works because the air trapped between the layers provides tremendous insulation and gives you complete control over your body temperature. As you hike uphill and get warm, you can take off the mid layer. When you stop for a break and the wind picks up, just put it back on. By dressing in these layers, you'll be comfortable no matter what weather comes your way. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if it's true that there could actually be rainbow-colored mountains. Well, that's a fact. There are several places on Earth where this happens, but the most famous is probably Vinicunca in the Andes of Peru, widely known as Rainbow Mountain. It has distinct stripes of turquoise, lavender, gold, and red, making the mountain look exactly like a painted layer cake. These wild colors come from different mineral deposits that settled in the layers over millions of years. The reds come from iron rust, the yellow from iron sulfide, and the green comes from chlorite. Over time, tectonic plates tilted these sedimentary layers on their side, exposing beautiful, colorful stripes over the mountainside. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about mountains with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.